So after 22 weeks, BArcadians, I have finally had my hair cut.
Nobody cares, mate.
I mean, harsh. Okay, Pikmin 3 Deluxe. Boom!
Greetings, BArcadians, and welcome to another edition of the BA News Show every Friday at 5 PM with myself, Tabs, and my good friend Rich.
Hello!
So yeah, we've got another fairly stacked edition of the BA News for you this week. 5 topics to get our teeth into and mull over. But first of all, Rich, as we always do, what have you been playing mostly this week?
So, unsurprisingly, I'm still playing Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah, Tsushima, yeah.
And yeah, loving it. I'm really enjoying it still. I've really struggled to find time to play it this week. It's been a lot going on, work's busy and stuff, so I've played less this week. But on the flip side, I believe you've played almost every hour that God sent to you. Is that true?
Yeah, I've done pretty good, haven't I? I've just completed the story on Ghost of... Let us know, BArcadians, is it Tsushima, like Tsushima, or is it Tushima with a T? I want to know what you think, BArcadians. But yeah, I've just completed the main story. I've liberated everywhere. I better not go into too much detail as I'll spoil stuff. But yeah, I loved it. I think for me, again, snapshot review, I'm going to go for a 9 out of 10 for it.
Nice.
It's got some flaws, but they don't dull its finer moments. It's a magical game all in all. But Rich, should we get started and crunch into the first topic of the day?
Absolutely. And what seems to be the hot topic every week at the moment.
Yeah, it's been pretty much in lights for us, hasn't it, in recent weeks. So Halo Infinite. We basically got an announcement, I think it was on Monday, via Halo's Twitter page, that the multiplayer is going to be free. So here's what they had to say. Halo is for everyone. We can confirm Halo Infinite multiplayer will be free to play and will support 120 frames per second on Xbox Series X. More details will be shared later. So yeah, 343 came out and confirmed on the back of some rumours that Halo multiplayer is free. There's a little note here to say it's open discussion in the community, that there's a mixed response, of course, about the Halo's graphics and visual style. I mean, personally, I just think the graphics are a bit rough, but I've seen a lot of commentators trying to bin that off on a visual style choice. So let me know what you think on that. A possible multiplayer beta, and then also there's talk of potential microtransactions as well. But Rich, what do you make of this story?
Well, straight off the deck, the reason why it's going to be free is because they're going to make money from selling costumes and stuff like
cosmetics.
Yeah, I think there's a thing saying there won't be loot boxes in there, but it's confirmed there'll be microtransactions in there. So ultimately, they're going to prop the game up in terms of, you know, paying for itself by lots of microtransactions. So that's the only reason it's free.
Mate, you need to calm down. I think you're getting very racy here. I can see the anger in your eyes. No, we don't like microtransactions on the channel, do we really?
No, absolutely not. I mean, if that's the way they want to go, that's fine. And to be fair, it's very inclusive to put it free for all. But if it's pay to win scenario, get the best weapons by paying for them, then that's obviously not a good thing. Yeah, it's one of them. Don't really know what to make of it. I think that sounds like a massive cop-out, that the graphics are poor due to a graphics style.
I've seen a lot of defence of the game and the presentation we saw in big media publications. So, I mean, I suppose you've got to give fair hearing to it. It's a massive franchise. People are protective and loyal of it. What I would say on this one, the free multiplayer, there's 2 ways you can look at it. One, really positive. You know, it's for everybody. Microsoft are very forward thinking in some of their approach to, you know, being nice. Cross-platform games, they've been quite the supporter of that, which is great. The other side of the coin is, if you want to be a bit cynical, you might say that it's cruising in as a bit of a hot wreckage in terms of the game and the experience, and therefore give it away for free, and therefore people won't moan about it if it's a bit rough around the edges.
The only thing I will say is, and some people have mentioned this, if the gameplay is outstanding, every single person who's commented how the graphics are poor will not say a thing again about the graphics being poor. If the gameplay is unbelievable, out of this world, you'll never hear anything about the graphics again.
Well, Digital Foundry will get their analysis in, I'm sure. But yeah, you're absolutely right. It will completely take away from any concerns because it's all about the game.
It's really interesting. I noticed 343 put out a press release mentioning about the graphics and the graphics, and they actually mentioned Digital Foundry's video about it.
Wow.
Which I thought was incredible that they were that bothered by that video. They specifically named it.
They're a monolithic institution at this point.
Absolutely. I just thought it was very interesting. They obviously felt so concerned by that they needed to reference it specifically. But
good old Rich Ledbetter and co. They've got a real reputation in the industry now, which is good actually.
Absolutely.
It's a benchmark for companies to measure themselves against.
Absolutely.
But yeah, let us know what you think, BArcadians. Is it a good thing? Could it just be a bit of spin on the fact that it's not looking great and it could be coming in, a bit rubbish? Let us know. We'd love to hear. And Rich, take us forward.
So, Activision Blizzard staff organise. On Friday, a Blizzard employee started a spreadsheet to anomalously compile salary data, which has been updated by dozens of staff. At this point, I think 870. A few cheekily added their compensation for Activision Blizzard CEO Bobby Kotick, who received a package worth $40 million last year.
Not bad, eh?
Wow. Said the company pays far less than its competitors. Those who have left said they got significant pay increases, some as high as 75 or 100%. This is madness. After leaving for a comparable position at a different firm. Some are being paid below £40,000 a year, which is less than half of the median household income in Irvine, California, where Blizzard's main campus is based. And that information comes from Bloomberg. Wow. I mean, at this point, it seems to be a lot of what we talk about on the news is just how, I'm going to use the term,
shitty practices.
Yeah, I was going to use the term rubbish. Lots of these development companies seem to be, they seem to treat their staff poorly, and now it seems like even though they have maybe not great working conditions, RE the working conditions we mentioned last week for 343, also lots of them aren't even getting paid well.
It's crazy, isn't it?
What do you make of this story, Taps?
Well, I think it's a great thing that these, the staff members are coming together, have the courage to kind of challenge the corporate institution structure that I'm sure Blizzard Activision is. I think a lot of shadow needs to be thrown towards, Bobby Kotick or Kotick, however you pronounce it, because it's just crazy that he could earn last year $40 million in terms of his remuneration, and they're not paying their staff a living wage, that's based on where the actual company is based. It's disgusting is what it is.
Absolutely.
I mean, I know as well in recent years that I think they've had to make staff cuts because of economic changes. All the while he's getting this, it's a just obscene amount of remuneration.
Absolutely. I mean, that's 1,000 times their average salary.
Exactly. I'm sure I read it's the wage disparity within the company, that the lowest paid earn less than 1/3 of 1%. I think of Kotick's salary.
Wow.
Which is just a huge gulf. And I mean, that's just not a way to treat your staff, is it?
No,
or
absolutely.
to engender loyalty, solidarity. And I think, you have to be doing something about that. He doesn't need that kind of wealth to live, even the most luxurious of lives, surely.
Absolutely.
So we won't get too political and start getting into economics here, but it's not great, is it?
I think it's one of those, and we spoke about this a little bit in the 343 article we ran last week, that it's hard for you to be super instilled and passionate about the project that you're working on and the product that you're going to deliver to us as gamers, when your company can't organise simple things like paying you the correct wage, or having enough toilets, or having a decent working environment. And ultimately, all of those things lead to inferior products within the industry, unfortunately.
I'd be raging. I wouldn't want to be putting my passion, giving my spare time into a company that's absolutely taking the piss, to put it bluntly. It's just not respecting. I mean, there's a little story we got from Games Industry Biz, which really puts this into even harsher light, if you like. So Bobby Kotick, 30 years as CEO. Activision Blizzard tried to defend the fact that he's earned all this money in recent years by saying that the share value has increased from $10 million to over $50 billion in his 30-year tenure as CEO. I mean, fair enough to an extent. He's made, if you can align that all to him, which a company is a collective.
Absolutely.
But anyway, we'll move on. But his compensation structure is where it really is shocking. So essentially, he can receive 5 annual bonuses for meeting specific criteria only once in that 5-year period. So an analogy was made that it's a little like losing a race 4 years in a row at the Olympics, winning the 5th, and getting 5 gold medals, even though you lost 4 times over that 5-year period. It's just not fair, is it?
Absolutely.
It's simple as that. But anyway, we've done enough blabbing. Again, BArcadians, let us know what your thoughts are. And Rich, the next story. Oh Pikmin! Pikmin! Pikmin!
It's coming! Well, sorry about that, BArcadians. I'm not sure whether you caught that, but Pikmin 3 Deluxe has been announced. Come on!
It's finally landing.
So the game which, any Pikmin game, which I thought was coming to Switch, what I genuinely thought would never ever happen, well, yesterday, the announcement, it is coming on October the 30th this year.
Nintendo emerged from the shadows, didn't they?
Suddenly they're at the top of my Christmas card list. And it's coming with some new features, which obviously we're welcome, we're happy about that.
It's basically a new game for both of us, isn't it, regardless?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't played it, I'm sure you haven't played it.
It's a Wii U game.
Yeah, neither of us had Wii U's. So originally released, as we've just mentioned, on the Wii U in 2013, and it's coming, as I've just mentioned, October to the Nintendo Switch. Titled Pikmin 3 Deluxe. The full game will include options for local co-op play.
Is that confirmed, is it?
Yes, yeah, so it says on the actual Nintendo website, it says co-op play, and then there's a little asterisk and it says on same console. So yeah, local co-op play, and what else we're going to have? We're going to have the ability to play
all the DLC from the back.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, of course. You can be able to play the entire narrative campaign in cooperative mode, as I've just mentioned, on the same console. So because we did speak about maybe we could play the whole thing together. We were hoping for a global co-op, but it's not a local co-op, which is a shame. But and there's also going to be new difficulty settings, enhanced targeting, and a new hint system. And there's also going to be, what was this mode we were talking about?
There's like a mission mode. I think that was part of the original game. Akin to like a challenge mode. But yeah, I don't know if this is all unlocked to begin with, or you unlock that after the game. We'll have to see.
It sounds like, from what I read, that that's unlocked straight off the deck, but on the Wii U version, you had to complete the game before you unlock that.
Okay, so it's a Mario Kart Deluxe.
Yeah, exactly, it's a bit like that. So anyone who's got Mario Kart Deluxe, everything's unlocked from the start. You don't have to complete stuff to unlock stuff, which in some ways was a shame on that, but I think it'll be fine on this.
Yeah, absolutely. So, suffice to say, I think you're chuffed a bit.
Super excited for this. Can't wait. I honestly can't wait for this.
And what do you think in terms of, Nintendo, as we say, coming out of the shadows and actually making some moves again, giving us some hope for 2020?
Absolutely. I mean, it seems to be like the unspoken thing that Nintendo have not been able to cope well with the crisis throughout the world. They're obviously, I mean, I was reading something this week about the fact that people's home offices of employees who work for Nintendo still include fax machines and stuff. Right. So it's fairly obvious that, from what I've read, that they need to update home offices. In this country, we seem to be able to do everything from home.
Coding on calculators, are they?
Yeah, exactly. So I think this is a good step forward, and hopefully this means we'll see Pikmin 4 at some point, which is obviously the ultimate dream, because hopefully that's a game that's developed specifically for Switch, which is the dream, I guess.
Finished 10 years ago, wasn't it?
Apparently so. So yeah, I'm really pleased with this, as you can imagine. What do you make of it?
Yeah, I think it's a great thing. Obviously, I'm really happy for you. I think I'll buy it as well.
Yeah.
I think I've seen some shade cast at the fact that it's a fully priced game. But for me and you, it's brand new to us.
Absolutely.
And it's got, bells and whistles attached. So for me, the value proposition is there.
I do have to say, I sort of understand that. If I was buying this and I'd played this before, I would feel like that's a little bit of a bad taste in my mouth there. Because it's an expensive game to replay, but as you said, neither of us had a Wii U, so this is going to be first play for us, so we can justify that cost, so it's all good.
And speaking of kind of undervalued experiences, while this is a great move, and it will obviously keep Nintendo's relevance moving into the back end of 2020, I'm still really praying that all these Mario All-Stars 35th Anniversary Edition is real. I'm still hoping we're going to see that before Christmas time. Well, maybe at Christmas time. For me personally, that would just keep the wolf from the door, keep me pleased as a gamer. Super Mario Sunshine, Galaxy 1 and 2, if they could, maybe 3D Land. I mean, that would just be an absolute bounty of classic games that I think were undervalued, underplayed at the time.
Absolutely.
I think there's a lot of gamers out there. It straddled different audiences and demographics. A strange time with the Wii and the Wii U. I just feel that there's a lot of potential there for Nintendo to get back in the limelight.
Absolutely.
So yeah, let us know what your thoughts are on that one, BArcadians.
Absolutely.
And shall I move us on, Rich?
Wait, the battery's about to die.
Is it? Right then, shall I move us on, Rich?
Go for it, mate. What's next?
So, fourth topic, we've got my spidey senses tingling.
All right.
What are we talking about? We're talking about the upcoming Marvel Avengers game that has basically sparked a bit of a backlash after it was revealed that Spider-Man is going to be an exclusive character to the PlayStation version only. So, yes, the game's going to be released on the 4th of September across the PS4, Xbox One and PC. I mean, I have to say, from what I've heard of the impressions coming through this week, there's mixed feelings on it. It straddles a couple of different audiences and perhaps doesn't do enough to justify either. But anyway, yeah, so we know, of course, Sony has owned the movie rights to Spider-Man since '99, and a video game headlined by the web slinger, of course, was a PS4 exclusive back in 2018. Fantastic game.
Absolutely.
I'm
possibly coming to PS5 as part of the launch titles.
Yeah, Miles Morales seems like it might be boxed with that.
It, yeah, but anyway,
but yeah, I don't know what to think or feel on this game. Video game exclusives, it's not a new thing. I mean, what was it? Link appeared in Soul Calibur, didn't he? I know that other consoles did get their own versions of exclusive characters, and maybe that's something, Crystal Dynamics can look to do here to square things up for the audience. But at the same time, I suppose, if this character in the game represents a significant part of the experience, because it's not just like, a cosmetic change. You've got a whole, presumably, storyline for this character.
So I think what you've done there is you've hit on the crux of the matter. The problem is that character offers a very unique playstyle. You can web sling. It offers a completely different take to the game than any of the other characters. So not having the character in the game does take away from the game. It's not like a character in a beat 'em up where they've just got, say, one or two special moves. It actually completely alters the way in which you play the game, doesn't it? Because, web slinging, all the other things that come with that. So I think that's the problem with this.
Yeah, I mean, if they'd had an exclusive character in, say, Hawkeye, it might have been less of a furore about it. But Spider-Man is obviously much loved and a massive character in the Marvel universe. So.
And obviously has a lot of popularity at the minute. His own films are coming out. The game was brilliant a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
There's a reason why there's a lot of buzz about this particular character.
So yeah, I mean, hard to say. I think we're both a bit unsure how to feel about it, but there's both two sides to this story, and as ever, BArcadians, let us know in the comments section where you fall.
I mean, I guess it's ultimately whatever happens, and is always the case with exclusives. Someone's missing out. So exclusives are just, they always are. Someone's missing out. A gamer is missing a game, or a gamer is missing a character within their game. So I guess in that respect, even if you're an absolutely die-hard PlayStation fan and you think, yeah, I'm happy about this, in some respect you think, yeah, but what about my mate down the road who's an Xbox fan? He's missing out on that experience that I'm getting. So yeah, I don't know, it feels a bit
anti-consumer, so to say. But it's business, so...
I guess so.
Yeah, two sides. But let us know, Arcadians. Rich, do you want to wrap this one up for us, my friend?
Yeah, and I guess we're going to wrap this up with a tentative story here. This is Zelda Ocarina of Time remake. Now, we both are very sceptical on this one, as about whether it's happening. So the rumour is...
Grab it at smoke. Yeah. That's how I describe this story.
Or shadows in the games industry.
Of course, I love it.
So the rumour doing the rounds on the line, and seems to have been getting some traction, is that Nintendo plans on bringing its classic game, Zelda Ocarina of Time, I know one of your favourite Zeldas.
Love it.
Back to the Nintendo Switch, or to the Nintendo Switch. The rumour seems to stem from Nintendo renewing the Ocarina of Time trademark in Australia and Europe. There are a couple of big Zelda anniversaries coming up in 2021, so potentially we could see something along the lines of release that coincides with that, much like we're expecting to see with the upcoming, is it 35th
anniversary of
Mario, although nothing confirmed on that yet. And so I wouldn't say it would be a big stretch that this could be happening, but I don't know, we're very sceptical on the tab. So and to be fair, I'm not just sceptical, I'm not sure whether they need to bring this game, unless it's a complete remake that looks like this picture up here. I'm not sure whether I personally would want to see this come to the Switch.
I don't mind it getting remade as long as Shigeru Miyamoto is heavily involved and it does respect to the original. What I would say is, though, I just don't think there's a lot in this rumour. The basis of it is that they've renewed a trademark, which happens all of the time, and it just makes business sense to do so. And on top of that, there's a 35th anniversary for Zelda coming next year. We don't even know if the Mario thing's real yet.
No.
So I would suggest this is more likely to be wishful thinking. If we could create enough of buzz around it in the community, perhaps Nintendo will make it happen and make it real. I mean, I would love to see it. So, I'm as much of a wishful thinker as the people who probably started this rumour. But I just feel, unless we hear something more concrete, I'm really not going to look too far into it.
The only thing I will say is and I think the picture that I've used here above comes from somebody who's doing like a home remake of Ocarina of Time on, I think it's Unreal Engine.
I think so.
Now, it's interesting to think, if the trademark lapsed, could that person then apply for that trademark and then put that game out with the proper trademark? So I think there is a bit of like, I'm going to call it arse covering here by renewing the trademark.
They love their cease and desists as well, don't they, Nintendo? They love to clamp down on any sort of fan projects. But, it's a classic, so it's always going to be tough because you're not going to want to tamper with a classic and leave a bad taste in the mouth of fans everywhere. So you have to approach this one with kid gloves. But, would I love to see an absolute brilliant game brought back into, modern adaptation, introduced to a brand new audience of gamers? Yes, I would. It'd be fabulous. We'll have to wait and see, though, BArcadians. So I think that's probably about it for us this week. Thank you for joining us as ever, sharing our glee, or Rich's specifically. Pikmin 3 is real. It's going to happen. And let us know what you think to our stories in this week's comment section. And without further banging on, please like this video to support everything we do on the channel. Make sure you subscribe. Ring that bell to stay up to date with everything we put out there. And I think that's another one for the archives, Rich.
Indeed. Stamped and completed.